I've been in the banking industry more years than I care to count or share, to be honest. But every single time I want to leave it, my friends say, well, you're just about to leverage all those years of experience, why leave it? And there's something about the banking industry, and I'm using that as a backdrop to align learning to strategy, is that it is very, very profit-driven, aggressively so. The investors are used to a certain return any which way, and there's a bit of an ego amongst the CEOs, and I use this expression, my Mercedes is bigger than yours. And a few years ago they all drove towards size. Now they've come to a screeching halt. It's like, was size the right way to go? And against this backdrop, there's always been changes. Whatever the latest is, other banks are doing, we must do. So in that scenario, how do you align learning to say it's driving business performance? So for the company I'm working for, reviewed the history and said, what are you about as an organization? They've just gone through a strategy refresh. And that strategy refresh says, we are a retail bank, digitally driven, customer-centric. So unpack that. What does your mission and your values say about you? Best people, delivering service, the usual things you see in the banking hall. But like Victor said, your people are your engine of delivery. But do our CEOs and the leadership see all that? So you unpack that to say, skills and knowledge, capability. What is that capability we need to develop that is our DNA? We wake up, disaster is crashing all around you, but that DNA and that capability is still intact. You unpack all that. Now, the next thing you also look at is to say, future focus. We've learned how knowledge is changing the way we do things very, very fast. The competency framework I articulated 3 years ago, 40–50% of it is no longer relevant. We're doing a review. So you look at all those business drivers and say, what are those skills and capability will drive the business today and in the future? You pack that. You go back and look at your competency framework and you articulate it according to all the divisions. With that strategy in mind, it's retail. And when we unpack retail is like wholesale. The skill level is not much of that depth, but it is the disciplines around the process that is much more important. So with the dynamics of change, how do we land a learning philosophy, a learning strategy that supports all those issues? And we keep coming back to the learning organization. How do people learn? What is the demographics of the people in the company? We have millennials, which is 46% of the workforce, because there was an aggressive recruitment drive starting in 2012. We have the baby boomers, and then we have Generation Y. They all learn differently. And while we were talking about technology, I'll give you an example. Senior leadership said, no, digital, e-learning, etc. We sent out all the material. On D-Day, how many of you have done it? It was only one, the chairman, and it was because he was the chairman, I'm leading, I have to demonstrate I'm leading the way. So in terms of providing a solution to drive that strategy, you have to take quite a lot into consideration. And it's not one day big bang. It's not one day big bang. Culturally, everybody will not get there in one day. But you build a roadmap and you keep revalidating because change is dynamic. But you have to have an underlying philosophy to say, in terms of learning in this organization, this is what we're about. And the learning organization philosophy is the one that does it for us because we're driving to a certain a sort of collaborative mental model where learning happens 24/7. You can be interacting in a team, learning is lessons learned. You can have come back from a program, light bulb moments, I want to share. We encourage those kinds of, we call them clinics, short, 2 hours. And there's a whole raft of initiatives you can pack there. But you must not do learning for learning's sake. Always, always, and it requires a phenomenal amount of discipline to say the skills, the knowledge, and the capability we need to drive our strategy. And when we did that, there were 5 top key elements that keeps repeating itself. Leadership is one of the biggest ones, key. And yet there isn't enough focus on leadership development. And I use this expression from cradle to grave.